can't let go. So I like intended to go to a bookstore and like a thrift store and all that, but I like sat down and started like opening scripture to just like set my heart right, and he just like didn't let me go. So this was much less of like an anticlimactic like vlog, so it doesn't have like a lot of parts to it, but it was just so good for my soul. So I'll share more about it. But yeah. So I will share more. I gotta run and get my kids from BBS. Okay, so there's the city right there. I'm in Brooklyn right now. I just want to share a little bit about Sabbath, what that means, and what like the Lord is pulling on me. So Sabbath is like, again, technically the end of the work week, right? And we take one day to rest, just like God took one day to rest. We as humans understand that we are made in the image of God, and just like God rested, we rest as well. But as our family, we all rest very differently. So we all rest. We all take, so my husband and I each take a half day of Sabbath each week, and my boys also take 2 hours each week to Sabbath on Mondays. So just cultivating that in them, just the idea of resting, the idea of like being with the Lord. So we're not legalistic about it, but we do things that will fill us up, give us rest, help us connect with the Lord. Yeah, so today I dropped the boys off at BBS, and I took the ferry over to Greenpoint Brooklyn, and I had all intents and purposes of going to a coffee shop, grabbing a cup of coffee, reading a little bit, and then also going to a thrift store and a bookstore and just enjoying like a time of just like resting. But I like got into it with the Lord, and I homeschool my boys, and with that homeschool we are going through the Bible very slowly. So we're not doing it like read through the Bible in a year. It's more of like, hey, how deep can we get into God's word, right? I want to create in my boys like biblical biblical literacy. And we started going through it, and then I realized how much I didn't know or how much more I wanted to go in depth. So we're like starting over again. So yeah, I got so many different resources, so many different things, and I am going through it myself, and like the Lord is just opening up my eyes to so much scripture, so much of the Bible that just in like the first chapter of Genesis 1. So it's just really been beautiful, and just planning out how to do homeschooling with them. So yeah, we're doing that, and yeah, so it was just a really great time. I have a bunch of different resources. I guess I'll show them to you. Yeah, so let me show them to you, and I'll come back on. Okay, so I'm recording this again because I did it wrong. I'm a newbie vlogger, so don't judge me. So the two like main books that I'm using, like printed books, is this one. It's called Adam and His Kin, The Lost History of the Lives and Times. So I have started reading it. It's like an imaginative take on like the Genesis story. So it goes through like Cain and Abel and Genesis and all these different, the flood, there's Noah and everything. And it's more of an imaginative. It's this woman, Ruth Beachick's, like her take on it. So she like tells the story in story form rather than what like the Bible, like scripture, word for word, which I think is like interesting. There are some things in here that I don't really agree with, but I think it's a fun read aloud for the boys, to have like a different perspective and to have their imaginations opened to the Bible. And then there's this one, which is Genesis, Finding Our Roots, same author. And so in here, there's like different projects and different ways to interact with like Genesis. Like there's scripture study, there's topics, different other resources, different things, which is really helpful in creating like a homeschool curriculum and just being able to have more things. I also have like a bunch of like printable resources. I can probably link those in the bio of like different ways to like how to schedule it out, like how to do what chapters to read first and whatnot. So yeah, but these are the two main ones, and then the scripture videos and all that. So it's really important for me for my boys to have a Christian worldview, but also being able to like have an understanding of like other worldviews, how to compare them to scripture. I do not limit my boys like listening or reading to other like podcasts or going through different science textbooks about like dinosaurs and evolution and whatnot, just because I want them to be able to understand that, yeah, just that they can read all these things, but we have to measure them against scripture, because then when they get older, they won't know or know how to do that themselves. So learning from a very young age, being able to look at scripture and look at the world and say which is truth, and choosing to believe that what God says is true.